the best part of your day, best part of your day is how you sync with your day. How do you sync with your day? How do you connect to your day? How do you connect to your day versus how you attach to your day? How do you connect to your day versus how you connect to your day is the most important part. We learned that one of the things that I've learned is in the dark, we learn trust. We learn to stop trying to make things fit me. I learned how to stop trying to make things fit me. And I had to admit that I had growing to do. I had to accept that my life was a distraction. My existing in that, trying to make everything fit, was a distraction for me to avoid that interaction. And being really alone with my thoughts was very much needed. I was avoiding myself. I was ignoring myself. And the craziest part is that I was always here. I was always present. But I wasn't connected. I was always present, but I wasn't connected. In the dark, we learn trust. In the dark, we learn our trust. There's a difference between being present and it simply existing. A lot of the times for us, we feel that we are present based on the things that we're doing within the day. We feel like we're connected based on the things that we're doing into the day. The issue with this aspect is similar to I did that little meditation in the beginning, is just allowing myself to sync with my space. Remember, your space is your opportunity. Your space is your initial opportunity. If I'm not willing to sync with everything that's within my space, or if I'm feeling anxiety or I'm feeling anxious, that means there's something in my space that I need to address. There's something in my space that I need to address. For me, a lot of times when I was coming into my space and really understanding myself, it was whenever I started doing my meditations, I would feel anxious. I would feel all of the energy. And then I started, instead of trying to make it fit, that means trying to fight it, like that means, damn it, that means I gotta go get this or this or this or this or this. I learned that in my meditations, my space being my opportunity, it wasn't made, the reason that a lot of us fail in our meditations is because we're trying to make our meditations fit our space instead of allowing our spaces to fit our meditation. Allowing ourselves to sync with our space. I'm sitting in my living room. I have an altar to the right of me. I have an altar that's straight ahead of me over this way. I have my tapestries hanging up. I'm in my space. One of the things that I had to learn for myself was syncing to my space. Understanding and giving a purpose for everything that's within my space. Becoming present. This involves you becoming present of your space. Not looking at it from, and I noticed when I was doing it, trying to make my space fit me, I always went into my thought process of, I need more of this, or I need to do this, or I can't wait to do this. I set up the tone for the anxiousness to ride. I set up the tone for the anxiety to kick in. I set up the tone for that doubt to kick in. I set up the tone for the stress to kick in. I set that tone. I set that tone by me not being present in my space. In the dark, we learn to trust. That means the longer that I kept my eyes closed, and as I'm learning how to breathe, going through my breathing exercise, learning how to breathe, learning how to take in the breath, learning how to release it, learning how to hold it in, learning how to release it. What was I thinking about? What was on my mind? What was going through my mind at the time? I remember the first time in the first of my couple of meditations, I would sit there, and what I went into that space with is what I thought about. So in my mind, like my first meditations, I would be thinking about, well, I got to get ready for work. Or I was thinking about, well, I got to go do this, or I got to go cook this, or I got to go do this. Those are the things that I was taking into the dark. Those are the things that fed in the dark. Is what you're taking in there. In the dark, we learn to trust. It's only me in there. It's only what I allowed in there. It's only the things that I allowed into my circle. It's only the things that I allowed that are in that space. Everything else, when I open my eyes and I bring light to it, it's only based on it's me. One of the things that we have to learn when it comes into doing your work, especially if you book when you do guided meditations with me, we do your consultations, we do your therapy sessions, and we do these bills. One of the things that we're going to learn is, and one of the greatest factors of your learning is going to be learning that when you are going internally and you're finding out what's lit up inside of you, and we're going to get deep into this tomorrow, when you're looking at what's happening inside of you, when you're triggered, that's the light coming on inside of you. Remember, everything outside of you is an aspect of your shadow. So if it triggers you, it's lighting up something inside of yourself that you must deal with. That's that light. That's that going into the dark to see the light. But you got to be able to trust yourself in that space. That's the ultimate aspect of you loving yourself. A lot of times we'll say to us, I remember saying to myself that, yo, I love myself. I trust myself. I honor myself. But the more when I really sat with the thoughts, and I really, really sat with the thoughts, similar to I got an ambient beat playing in the background. So when I'm sitting there with my thoughts, I really had to face how much I didn't love myself. I simply put up with myself. I simply just put up with myself. I didn't really trust myself. I was just simply putting up with me. And then that was based in my expectancy because I really didn't know me to trust me. I really didn't know me to trust me. That's one of the big factors when you're doing your work. You're going to have to let go of this, I trust myself. But then you're going to start realizing I really don't know myself outside of the things that I have to work on. So trust is a stretch. I trust myself to learn. I trust myself to grow, that I know I need to have some growing to do. I trust myself that I know I got to set up, I got to get in sync with my space. I trust myself in that manner that I'm going to do this work, but I really don't know myself as much as I thought I knew myself. I really don't know my limitlessness because I've always lived in a certain limitation. I really don't know myself because I lived or I existed in the pretense of always being anxious, always having the hecticness the hectic cycles to keep me going. But outside of that, I really don't know how to trust myself enough in that position with just myself. Nothing else going on. Me synced with my environment. Me learning how to expand in my environment. Me not trying to make it fit me, but allowing myself to adjust to my path. It's one of the greatest keys that I learned in going into that dark space of myself. Going into my shadows and acknowledging that I had some work to do. Removing myself from the cognitive biases that had me attached to things. Removing myself from that. Taking myself out of that position. I was the only one putting myself there. I was the only one that defined these aspects. And then it made me understand the true power of being vulnerable is being able to give a purpose to everything that's within my space. But it wasn't based on attachment. A lot of times we put the purpose on things based in this attachment. We're going to get deep into this tomorrow. Based on that attachment narrative. That means this has a purpose. This has a purpose based on this, this, and this. And as long as it lives out its purpose, it can stay within the space. This has a purpose. This has a purpose. So now that we have this behavior set, we start this imitation process. So we go through the motions. Monday, you wake up, you go to work. Tuesday, you get up, you go to work. Wednesday, you get up, you go to work. Thursday, you get up, you go to work. Friday, you get up, you go to work. Saturday, you're off. Sunday, you're off. All right, cool. What am I going to do this Saturday and this Sunday? Oh, damn, I didn't have enough time. Oh, damn. We repeat, and I talked about this last night in the God Hour show. We repeat this state of staying stagnant. And we call that our peace. But as I said last night, one of the things that I had to learn about my peace, my internal peace, was as long as I had memories of internal conflict, as long as I had emotions that were stagnant within myself, that were based in internal conflict, I can never have peace. I can only have complacency. I never can have peace. I always can have complacency. Because the power of peace is the ability to grow. The ability to set that boundary. But when I'm stuck in the aspect of being stagnant or complacent, I really don't apply to the algorithm of my growth. I only do enough to change. I only do enough to give myself the illusion that something changed. Maybe next time. Anything's better than nothing. I still have to do this. Oh, this is why this. Coping mechanisms. Escapism. A lot of my time was based in that escapism format. Like I was always trying to escape something. I was always trying to give myself something to do. It's similar to it's similar to if you have children, or you just think about when you were little and you think about that one place that you could go to be free, even if it was under your bed or even if it was just outside for a couple of minutes. You got to get back into that motion. That's where your power is. That's where your peace is. You got to get back into the motion of being able to go outside and just sit under a tree. Just sit under a tree, something simple, and allow yourself to think. Take that journal out there and write in your journal. Don't try to make it fit the old timeline, because we're addressing those behaviors. We're stepping out of those behaviors. When we do this work, we step out of those behaviors. We're looking at that behavior. That behavior was based on a projection. That behavior was based on an attachment. I really didn't know this. Damn, if I really didn't know myself to love me in the depth that I needed to love myself to heal, to find peace, maybe I didn't. Maybe this was an imitation of an attachment. Maybe I'm just repeating that pattern. I want you to be the best. I want you to be the best. I desire you to be the best. Tomorrow, we are getting into, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday night lectures, we're getting into Pluto rising, submission to the soul. A lot of the times for ourselves, when it comes to our doing our work and gaining our emotional literacy, we think that what we're doing is submitting to the space, becoming open. Submission is to become open. What we're actually doing is we're dismissing, or we're allowing things to become dormant to fit within certain space, to fit within a certain cycle. That what creates that stagnant aspect, instead of us learning how to create peace. And that's what we're going to get into tomorrow night. A lot of the aspects, we're going to get deeper into some tidbits on shadow, like getting deep into your shadow, the integration. This is going to be a context that's going to be part 2 of that Dark Night of the Soul. Because we're going to get into this work. I want you to be the best. I desire you to be the best. If you reading, set up that consultation. Let's get that work started. I'm only the vessel here to provide that space so we can learn how to create that space for you. Hit me up in the inbox. Hit me up at GottaCallAlchemistLLC.com. I desire you to be the best. I want you to be the best. Run this video back and take in that, I think it was probably 5 minutes. Take that next 5 minutes to take that breath in for yourself. You deserve it. Start giving yourself what you deserve, truly outside of attachment. I love you. We love us. Ashe.